Welcome to another episode of News Boss series by Twice Told Tales podcast. Today we're going to talk about a special news about in Iran, about a girl who fell, who apparently fainted at a train station, and the mainstream media are in the West are talking about another made-up scenario to make it look like uh, just exactly what the lies they told about Mahsa Amini last year. So what happened was that a high school girl called Armita and her friends were waiting for the train for the metro in a subway station in Tehran called Shahada. And as soon as the train stopped and the girls were trying to get in, I mean, they got into the train, and the CCTV videos that has been published show that she walks into the train with her friends and she falls from behind, and apparently she hits her head against the edge of the train, and she's unfortunately been in coma since Sunday when this thing happened. So what the mainstream media, the Western media are talking about is that she was beaten by hijab enforcers inside the train after she had an argument. And this is based on the Guardian's claim of having talked to two eyewitnesses in the train. Uh, this is, I mean, it reminds me of CNN's report last year where they said that they talked to eyewitnesses about another girl called Armita, who they claimed was raped, and her head was shaved and her nails were pulled out, and then the girl came out of prison with the same hair, the same color, and with the nails in place. So
That's
there are
impressive.
the
How did
Iranian.
they do that? How does the
Okay,
Iranian Secret Service replace the hair and nails so quickly?
I don't know. That's the superpower of the Iranian mullah regime,
Like Masha Amini
apparently.
has like a time delayed beating where she's beaten to inch of her life, and then there's no physical evidence of it until some 20-30 minutes
Exactly.
later, and then all the beating comes in at one moment. She walks perfectly
Exactly.
normally after a beating and then collapses later. That's an impressive, like, time delayed beating technique. It's actually
Getting
just
to
very
coma.
stupid. In this case, you can see the video. She walks into the door, and within 2 seconds, she obviously falls because her friend steps out of the cab to keep of the train to keep the door from closing because she sees that her friend is going to need to exit because she's
Yeah.
collapsed. So the beating would have had to
Yeah,
happen within the argument and beating that they say was witnessed would have had to happen within about 1 second. So
exactly. And the trains are so quick, like you don't have that much time to have an argument, and then like all the conversation that the Guardian claims that had happened between her and the hijab enforcers, and then come out, and then like she has pushed it. And the thing is, it's also important to note that she was wearing the school uniform. So like there is no, and yeah, her scarf, because the CCTV videos are from the time from she goes to a supermarket inside the station to buy something and then walks towards the metro. So they have released the videos of every second that she walked inside the station and then went to the supermarket and then got on a train. And yeah, it looks like her scarf is like around her neck rather than on her head. But especially for a school gear, and with the uniform, I mean, nobody really cares. And I mean, it's like very, very unlikely that she would have been stopped by hijab enforcers at 7 a.m. on her way to school. It's like almost impossible. And I personally have never seen I mean, I live in Isfahan, but here I have never seen a hijab enforcer inside the metro, in the train. So it's like the story has so many parts off, and it looks like someone outside Iran just made it up. Like the thing that they did was Mahsa Amini last year. But they yeah.
go ahead.
They also interviewed her parents, her other family members, and her best friend and her friends who were accompanying her to the train, because when she fainted, they started calling the what's it called, the for the emergency and for an ambulance, and they were getting directions on the phone from the emergency call to what to do and to check on her and everything. And they have also interviewed staff and the driver of the in the train station. And this station is one of the stations where the well, I will call them drivers. The drivers changed their shift. So he was getting into the train to start his shift, and he saw what happened. So he just came out to stop the train and called for those people in charge to tell them that there is an emergency case and the train is not going to start running immediately as it should. And he and a couple of other people or staff saw what happened and how the girls, her friends, were taking care of her until the emergency arrived and take care of her and took her to the hospital. And the family has been saying that before even everything was released, they had seen all the videos and everything, and there's nothing that they have doubt about, and they were kind of begging people to stop spreading rumors, because the families are already under pressure because their daughter is in coma and they don't need this extra stress and all the things that are happening and putting the family in pressure. Obviously people are spreading different types of lies about what has happened. Yeah, that's basically what's happening.
If you do a keyword search for eyewitness in English in Google News, you get no articles about this. So I think the reports of these eyewitnesses who witnessed the 1 minute or 1 second fight in the train or whatever, it's all made for consumption in Iran to try and instigate protests in Iran. And then those protests are what they're looking for as an external story. So the internal, all of this narrative now, it may not be, to our audience who are non-Iranians or non-Farsi speakers, it may not be apparent the level of hysteria that's being ginned up by this incident. It might just seem like a one-story thing on CNN, but this is something that they're currently trying to push within Iran to create protests similar to what they saw last year, with a similarly nonsensical story about a woman passing out and hitting her head, which is a very common event. It happens hundreds, probably thousands of times a year in America, where even young people, pass out for various reasons and hit their head. It's a very common, it's a common way of dying. So in general, yeah. So it's not. Yeah. And then so they've just weaponized it because they were opportunists and they're always looking for an event, especially around young women, because they view the story of women in Muslim countries as a story of oppression that can be latched onto by all these liberal do-gooders in the gender whatever movements. So it's such a lucrative way in to the culture war against Iran. So that's what they're looking for. And you can see this is the pattern. So you can see whatever this pressure against Iran is going to go through tragedy that happens to a young woman, and that's misinterpreted. That's how this is their only thing they have. That's literally all they have, which shows you what kind of a deck or what kind of a hand the West is playing with here. They have nothing. All they could go about is just finding women who passed out in various places and then trying to create hysteria around them. So in some ways, this is actually a really good story because it shows that there's not much that can endanger Iran at this point. I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, this one is a little bit more difficult to sell because last year what happened to Mahsa Amini, which was tragic. I mean, she was obviously under pressure and she fell out and she had like some health problems as a child. I mean, since she was a child. But the thing happened inside a police station, and she was actually stopped for a job. But this time, it has not even happened. I mean, it happened in a public place, and I really, really pray she survives and she comes out of coma she goes back to her health, and she can just go on like living and tell us what exactly happened. I really pray that that's going to happen. That would be the best thing to hear from her, if she can remember after the coma that she's going through. But I'd like to read quickly the quote from The Guardian, because as you said, when you search in Farsi, it's the headline by BBC Persian and Iran International Persian and all these media outlets, Persian propaganda against Iran. It's the headline that The Guardian got access to eyewitnesses in Iran, and that's what the eyewitnesses have been saying. But the article in English by Guardian has a different title, but when you go through it, you have something about the eyewitnesses, which is, I mean, kind of crazy. It says that the eyewitness claimed that soon after Armita entered the carriage, a female hijab enforcer started arguing with her because she wasn't wearing a headscarf. The chador-clad woman, this is exactly the quotes from The Guardian, screamed at her, asking her why was she not covered. The witness told The Guardian. Armita then told her, "Do I ask you to remove your scarf? Why are you asking me to wear one?" Their argument then turned violent. The hijab enforcer started physically attacking Armita and violently pushed her. Like, how many minutes do you need for this conversation to happen and for the whole thing to go? It doesn't happen in one like quick stop of the train at a metro station. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. And as I said, she was wearing the school uniform. Yeah, the scarf was hanging around her neck, but it wasn't. I mean, she had it with her.
It wasn't even a full stop at the train station. If you watch the video, they boarded.
Exactly.
4 people managed to walk onto the train, and then immediately one of those people steps back out because that's one of her friends who has now realized that they have to keep the door open. So that fight happened within the time period it took 4 people to walk through a doorway, rushing to get on a train. So
exactly.
It's totally insane. And we'll play those video clips here, and we'll add them here so people can just see what we're talking about. But it's and there's an interview with the parents and an interview with the who else was there in that interview?
Train staff and her friends that were with her.
16-year-old Armita Geravand fainted while boarding a train at a subway station in the Iranian capital. Now the Tehran subway company has released all camera footage from the moment Armita enters the station till she is taken to hospital. Here is 6:52 a.m. October 1st. Armita enters the station alone. After 2 minutes, she passes the ticket control gate. At 6:54, she enters a grocery store in the station, and after that she is seen here heading to the platform, where she catches up with her friends. It can be seen that the whole 8 minutes of her presence in the station passes without a problem. Armita and her friends wait to board the train, but they don't take the first one. It seems they are waiting for a friend. Armita's arrival on the platform and her boarding take more than 8 minutes. Still no scene or any problem. And here is the moment Armita and her friends board the train, but after just 4 seconds, as can be seen, she gets dizzy and falls down. After Armita's fall, people on the scene call the emergency services and try to revive her. A couple of minutes into the incident, medical teams arrive and she's transported to the nearest hospital. Armita's close friends say there was no quarrel and it was simply a normal day to school.
Her head hit the ground. I tried to pull her to safety with the help of others. When my hand touched her head, there was blood. We brought her out. Let me say this. Nothing happened on the train. No one pushed her. No one quarreled with her. Nothing. The moment she got on the train, she just fell.
Armita is now in hospital, and according to her medical report, she has gone through low blood pressure. Armita's parents say they have not seen any irregularities in the camera footage provided by the subway company or her medical report. They have called for people to pray for their daughter's health.
I've seen the subway footage, and I don't think what some people say is true. I've seen all the footage and followed it closely. Nothing was wrong.
از آن لحظه این گونه روایت می‌کند.
تو اون لحظه هم چون در کابین خودم باز بود و داشتم مصور رو می‌دیدم، بیهوش بود اون دختر. بیهوش بود و هیچ تحریک هم نداشت. زمان خیلی کوتاهی هم بود، یعنی چند ثانیه، مثلا 10 ثانیه بیشتر نشد.
و دوستان او که تا آخرین لحظات همراهش بودند ماجرا را شرح می‌دهند.
قرار گذاشته بودیم که بریم مدرسه مثل هر روز. ما متروی شهدا قرار می‌داریم، من و دو تا از دوستان. و امروز من رفتم متروی شهدا نشسته بودم منتظر بودم که دوستان بیان. یکی از دوستان گفتش چه دیرتر میرسه حالا و من همینجور نشسته بودم. یه دفعه دیدم آرمیتا اومد بالا سر رسم اونم دیدم آرمیتا بالا سرمه و سلام علیک کردیم. مثل همیشه اومد نشست رو صندلی. من گفتم وایسا مهلا بیاد که با هم بریم. گفتیم خندیدیم همینجور منتظر موندیم تا مهلا بیاد. من سرم برگردم ببینم مهلا کجاست. دیدم داره با سرعت میاد که مثلا ما بتونیم قطار رو سوار بشیم چون یه مقدار دیر شده بود و دیگه میرسیدیم. همون لحظه من و آرمیتا از صندلیمون بلند شدیم که مثلا بریم به سمت در. اول من وارد شدم و آرمیتا داشت میومد داخل و فاطمه هم جورایی وسطش بود. یهو آرمیتا بیهوش شد و افتاد دیگه. رفتیم و اول مهلا وارد مترو شد، وارد قطار شد. بعد پشت سرش آرمیتا رفت تا من هنوز نرفته بودم تا اومدم پامو بذارم داخل قطار. یهو آرمیتا از پشت افتاد و سرش خورد به سکو، بین سکو و خود در مترو سرش محکم برخورد کرد به اونجا. یعنی در واقع کمک خواستیم که حالا بکشنش بیرون که در بسته نشه. یه موقع
در همین حین یکی از مسافران مترو با تماس با اورژانس عملیات احیا را انجام می‌دهد.
And by the way, I forgot to introduce our special guest, the eyewitness, Mr. Rangi, who's walking on his shoulders.
Any of the eyewitnesses, and this guy.
At least he doesn't lie. He doesn't lie.
Look at those eyes. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That thing gets
big eyes rolling all around. Nothing little, stays out of his eyes.
Caption cameras coming out of his head. Oh. So anyway, that's okay. Legit eyewitness to all of this. Yeah, don't fall for any more of these scams, people. It's all a giant scam. And
check our Gray Zone article, our Gray Zone article last year that we pointed some of the craziest lies that they told about Mahsa Amini. It's out there. I will put the links in the description.
Yeah, that's good. And we probably will have to update that or make a second version of that at some point because the lies just keep coming. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on another episode of News Buzz, and we'll come back again soon.